Albert Breer, we keep mentioning Kyle as in Shanahan. The other Kyle involved in this draft at the top is Pitts. And what is the scoop with what you're hearing with him? Because in my mind, that is the guy who might make the Falcons say, yeah, we're not going to choose one of these first-round quarterbacks now. We're gonna stick Kyle Pitts with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley for Matt Ryan's final window of significant opportunity here. Or trade out because somebody else has fallen so head over heels for Kyle Pitts at 4. What do you think is going on with him in the draft here?
Here's what I would say. I think Kyle, like the way people talk about Kyle Pitts, the way NFL teams talk about Kyle Pitts is a lot like I remember teams talking about Quentin Nelson 3 years ago. Now, that sounds weird because a guard versus a tight end, but like there's universal agreement on who this guy is, which is exactly what it was like with Quentin Nelson. And then the question became in Nelson, like, okay, he's a guard. Do we take a guard that high? And, I don't think that the Colts would ever regret what they did. And I think that there are probably a couple teams that picked ahead of the Colts in 2018 that wish they were thinking like the Colts. So I think that's sort of where Pitts is, where he's seen as maybe the best prospect at his position in 15 years, since we're going all the way back to Vernon Davis. And then the question becomes how much you value the tight end, how much you might be getting out of the tight end within what your offense is. And everybody's got to answer that. And for the Falcons, it's going to be about timelines, right? Like if you draft Pitts or trade down, well, then what are you doing? You're shortening your timeline because you're going forward with Matt Ryan and throwing Pitts into an offense with Julio and with Ridley. And I mean, they've got some good top end talent there. They need to fill out the bottom of the roster, and they've got depth issues, but they've got some players there. If you wind up taking Pitts, you're shortening your timeline. If you wind up taking a quarterback, you're extending your timeline. And I will give you this nugget to leave you with on that.
Yes, sir.
Terry Fontenot, their new general manager, I can tell you he has gone out of his way to build a relationship with Matt Ryan. He showed up at a couple events where Matt Ryan was at. And on top of that, they've restructured Matt Ryan, which makes it difficult not just to separate from him now, it would make it difficult for them to separate from him a year from now. And so a lot of their actions they aren't the actions of a team that's separating, that's really looking to divorce its quarterback of the last 13 years. Now, maybe a quarterback they love falls to them at 4 and they say we have to do this, but there's been a lot of signs that relationship building with Matt Ryan's been important for Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith. And that tells me that they're at least considering the idea of going forward with Matt Ryan in the short term and trying to win now and worrying about getting your quarterback of the future maybe 2 or 3 years down the line.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.